Hey there, thanks for taking a minute to watch this video. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for being a loyal client. I genuinely mean that. It literally means the world to me here at the Farm Bureau insurance agency that I own, as well as to the two staff members who help me manage your policies and make sure that everything runs smoothly. So thank you for your business and for your continued loyalty. I genuinely appreciate that. In case you haven't heard, it's Life Insurance Awareness Month. The month of September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. And not only is it my job to talk about life insurance, but it's something that I feel a strong moral obligation for. As much as I love helping people with their home and their auto and their business insurance, I feel like one of the things that I do that has the biggest and most lasting impact is making sure that families and loved ones set up these financial vehicles known as life insurance to help them achieve their goals and accomplish some of their goals of giving and protecting livelihoods and futures. Now, more often than not, I feel like people don't get life insurance for two reasons. The first reason is that people usually overestimate the cost of life insurance. In some cases, up to 3 times they overestimate the cost. And then secondly is people fail to understand what it is that you can do with life insurance. I make this claim, and it may seem a little bit outrageous at times, but I make the claim that I could solve most of the world's financial problems with properly structured life insurance contracts. Now, I'm going to talk about 4 things that you want to make sure that you cover when we're talking about the topic of life insurance. 4 bases, if you will, that need to be covered or that should be considered when you're making a life insurance buying decision. So the first thing, number 1, is that you want to make sure that you have your final expenses covered. Nowadays we have crowdfunding like GoFundMe and things like that. That's not life insurance. That's a way of putting a burden, a financial burden on the community as a whole that quite frankly doesn't need to be there. A lot of people fail to get final expense life insurance because again they think it's super expensive. For most people who are of average health, I can put a basic final expense policy in place for $10 a month. And then it's just something, there's no excuse as to not have at least something basic in place to cover your final expenses. Now, when we say final expenses, we're obviously talking about the costs of funerals and burial, but also your final medical expenses and things of the sort. Now, that's the first base that we want to make sure that we cover. Now, maybe you're in a situation where you say, hey Mitch, I've got plenty of cash in the bank. I don't really need to have a final expense policy. And if you do, then great. I'm happy for you that you've got that money set aside. However, it's probably not the most efficient use of your money. What a lot of people don't realize is that even if you're, say, in later stages in your life where you're in retirement, where maybe you're in your 60s or your 70s or something like that, you can still oftentimes get life insurance in place. And even at that age, you can have, let's say that you want $20,000 worth of a death benefit, you can usually get that much money for about half. So meaning if you wrote a check for $10,000, you could get that $20,000 death benefit for a final expense policy. So just having cash on hand to pay for a funeral isn't super efficient. So the second thing that I want to talk about, and this is what I feel like is also super important, especially if you're married, if you have kids or grandkids, anyone who may depend on you financially or may, that where you want to give money to someone or to a charitable cause or an organization, that second base that you want to make sure you cover is income replacement. Now, if you have anyone who depends upon your income, make sure that you have adequate life insurance in place. There's a lot of financial gurus out there who say that you need to have at least 10 times your annual salary in life insurance. For some people, that may not be even close to enough. As you're taking into consideration all the aspects, you also want to make sure that with that income that you're covering your debts. If you've got a mortgage on a home, if you've got cars, not only do you want to replace income, but you want to replace the income that would be used to pay that off, or maybe just pay it off all at once. So that's something that needs to be taken into consideration, is that covering that second base of income replacement and paying off debts. Now the third thing, this is something that I actually get excited about, mostly because people have no idea that you can even do this. And if they have a basic understanding of it, usually they have a misunderstanding. And so I like to kind of overcome that obstacle, and I like to help people understand how it can be used as a real blessing and impact in someone's life. That third thing is with a properly structured life insurance contract, we can help you build tax-free wealth. Now, I come from a family of entrepreneurs and small business owners, and so I love seeing the impact that a business or that growing a business can have on a family and on a community. And so I get really excited about helping families and helping individuals build a nest egg or build a liquid cash account for a business, and do so in a tax-free way. When it's structured correctly, it can be done. It may even mimic, say, like a Roth IRA, only you don't have some of the restrictions that you do have with a Roth IRA. With a properly set up life insurance contract, you can put money in tax-free, after tax, and then you can take it out tax-free. So it's something that's very important to be able to understand and know how to utilize, and that's something that I get really excited about, is building that tax-free wealth for number 3. The fourth thing that I'll leave you to talk about and think about today is that of transferring wealth. So not too long ago, I had a client who came to me and she said, Mitch, I want to leave $20,000 for my son. And as we started talking about some of her options, she was like, should I just leave this money in my IRA for him? And as we talked through that, not only would he not see all of the $20,000 due to taxes, but it can also cause some negative tax consequences as far as bumping him into a higher tax bracket and things of the sort. And so what we ended up doing is that she ended up writing a check for the policy, and she was able to leave that $20,000 and some change to her son in the form of a tax-free death benefit. And that fourth thing that I talked about, that's transferring that wealth. Life insurance is bar none, hands down, the most efficient way to transfer wealth from generation to generation. So if you've got a pile of cash that you're sitting on, that you're planning on leaving to your kids or grandkids or other charitable causes or organizations, understand that that may have negative tax consequences, and they likely won't see the entire amount that you want to give them. And so put that into a properly structured life insurance agreement, and not only will you usually be able to double your money at least, but you can give it to them tax-free, and it passes generally right through probate to where it doesn't get tied up in dividing of an estate and things like that. So I strongly encourage you to consider those 4 things. So first, make sure you've got your final expenses covered. Secondly, make sure that you cover and replace your income and the income that's needed to pay off debts such as mortgages, cars, things of the sort. Thirdly, look at building tax-free wealth within a life insurance policy. And number 4, that would be to learn how to transfer wealth from generation to generation. So thanks for taking a quick minute to watch this video. Again, I appreciate you being a loyal client, and I look forward to serving you. If this video has been helpful, or if someone's come to mind as we've been having this brief conversation, whether that's a family member, a friend, a coworker, things like that, please take a moment to reach out to me. Send me an email, shoot me a text message, give me a call. And I would love to help that person who came to your mind, or maybe that person is you. So thanks again for being a loyal client. We genuinely appreciate that, and we'll see you on the next video.